Hi everybody, today I'm going to do a tutorial on this bag, and you're going to need probably about 350 yards of yarn to finish this bag. So let's go ahead and get started on it. For this project I'm using Lion Brand Heartland. It's a 4-ply worsted weight acrylic, and I'm going to be using a size I 5.5mm crochet hook. Okay, you want to start out with a chain of 41. I actually already did this part, so I'm just going to do it on a smaller scale. But to make it as big as mine, I started with a chain of 41. And of course you can make it as big or as small as you want. This, I'm using the crunch stitch, which needs to be done in multiples of 2 plus 1 more. But I did 41. So once you get your 41 stitches, or your 41 chains, you want to skip 2 stitches, so skip, skip, and we're going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain from the hook. Slip stitch. And then the next stitch, we're going to half double crochet. This is a really easy stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next, and then half double in the next, slip stitch in the next, half double in the next, slip stitch, half double, and you just repeat that, slip stitch, half double, slip stitch, half double, and repeat that all the way to the end of your chain. And you're going to end your chain in a slip stitch. Now of course yours will be a lot longer than mine, because I'm just doing a little sample here. But at the end, you want to do a chain, 2, and turn. And then in the next stitch right here, which is actually a half double from the previous row, you want to slip stitch into it. But you want to go make sure you're going into the top of the stitch, because you don't want to go into that loop right there. So like that, slip stitch into it, and then the next stitch, which is actually a slip stitch on the previous row, you want to half double in it. And then you want to slip stitch in the next stitch, and then half double in the next, slip stitch in the next, and then half double in the next, slip stitch, half double, slip stitch, half double, and again you just repeat this to the end of the chain. And then at the end, you want to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 at the end, and then you chain 2 again and turn, and you can kind of see it making a little ridges. It kind of looks like, I don't know if you're familiar with the moss stitch, but it kind of looks like that. And then you just repeat again, slip stitch in the next stitch, and then half double, slip stitch, half double. And again, you just repeat this until you get to the end of the row. And when you get to the end, there'll be one last stitch to half double in, and then you slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. Chain 2 again, and turn, and repeat. You just keep repeating that. You need to do a total of 60 rows. Okay, once you get your 60 rows done, I'm going to go around the whole piece with a row of single crochet. So I'm going to start with the slip knot on my hook. And you can start anywhere that you want. I'm just probably going to start up here in the corner here. And go ahead and pull through that slip knot that's on your hook. And then chain 1, and I'm going to go back into the same stitch that I started in and do a single crochet. And now I'm going to work my way across, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. Just like this. All the way down. Okay, I made it down here with my 1 single crochet in every stitch, and then when I get to the corner, I want to put 2 single crochets in the corner, and then just keep going around with 1 single crochet in every stitch. Just like this. So I'm going to continue going around with 1 single crochet in every stitch, except for when I get to the corners I'm going to put 2 all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Okay, I made it all the way around with my row of single crochet, and now I just want to slip stitch into my very first single crochet that I made, and then I can tie this off like that. And then you can hide that tail if you want. I'll hide that. I'll hide it in a little bit. Now I'm going to sew it together, and I want to sew it wrong side facing me so I can flip it inside out. Both sides look pretty similar to me, but if you have a side that you like better, put it on the end. Like, I'm going to use this side as my better side, so I'm going to fold it like this, sew it together, and then I'll flip it inside out, and my better side will be on the outside. So I'm going to start with a slip knot. And I'm going to start up here in the corner I got a bunch of tails here I gotta hide still, but I'm going to start in a corner stitch on this piece and a corner stitch on this piece. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to slip stitch it together all the way down. But what I want to do is I'm going to go through the first loop on this one only. See how there's 2 loops like that. I'm only going to go through the first loop on this side, and on this piece I'm going to go through the loop farthest away, so this loop. And I'm just going to pull it through the slip knot that's on my hook. Now I'm going to work across, or work down, slip stitching it together, going through the first loop on this piece, and on this over here, going through the loop that's farthest away from me, this loop right here. Now you can go through both loops if you want. It's not really that big of a deal. If it's easier for you. Go through the first loop right here on this piece, and then over here on this side, you go through the back loop. And slip stitch. And I'm going to do this all the way down, going through the first loop only on this piece, and on this side over here going through the back loop only. And like I said, you can go through both loops. It's not that big of a deal. Just going through that one loop on each side, all it's doing is putting that ridge on the outside, see? And I kind of like the looks of that. That's why I'm doing that. And if you go through both loops of each piece, you won't have that ridge. You won't have these little lines. So it's really completely up to you, the look that you're going for. But that's the way I'm doing it. See, this line are the loops that we're not going through. And it's going to put that line all the way down. And if you don't want that, if you want to just look like that, just go through both loops. So it's just really your preference. So I'm going to continue slip stitching this piece together, and then when I get to the bottom here, I'm just going to tie off, and then I'm going to slip stitch the other side together over here. Okay, I finished sewing it together, and I'm flipping it right side out now. I'm going to look at my seams. Oh, they look good to me. Okay. So that's what it looks like if you did it, just went through the one loop. But that was completely up to you, just whatever you like. Now I'm going to go around the top here. So I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook. So I'm just going to start in any stitch. I'm going to go through the slip knot that's on my hook. And now I'm going to work around doing 1 double crochet in every stitch. So I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to go back into that same stitch that I just started in and do a double crochet. And now I'm going to work around, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch around the top. I'm going to do this all the way around my piece until I get back to the beginning where I just started. So 1 double crochet all the way around, including, just keep going around here and all the way around the back and all the way back to where you just started. Okay, when you make it all the way around after that row of double crochet, and you can see on the seam here I just kept double crocheting around both seams on this side, so that way it's just completely around. Now I want to slip stitch into the top of my first double crochet like that. Now I'm going to start off with a chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet. And now I'm going to be working front post double crochets and back post double crochets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next stitch right here, and I'm going to work a double crochet around the front of the post. So I'm going to yarn over, just go around the whole post, not going in the top, just going around the post of the stitch, and then double crocheting. And then the next stitch I'm going to go around the back of the post. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to go stick my needle from the back and then back around the post like that. That one's the most tricky, but if you can see, my post is on the back of my hook now. And then I do my double crochet. But once you get it down, it's real easy. It's just kind of awkward. The next stitch, I'm going to do a front post. So I'm going to go around the post. See, the post is around my needle. And then I'm going to double crochet. The next one is going to be a back post. So I'm going to yarn over and stick my needle from the back and then around the post. Like that. And then double crochet. The next one will be a front post, like that, double, and then a back post. Front post, back post, front post, back post, and this is the pattern I'm going to repeat all the way around. Front post double crochet and then back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and that's going to create the ribbing that we see. So just go ahead and repeat that pattern back around to the beginning. Okay, once you made it back around, just go ahead and slip stitch into the top of your chain 3 and then chain 3 again, and now you just repeat the row you just did. You want to front post double crochet on top of the front post double crochet from the previous row, that way they line up, and then back post around the back post double crochets from the previous row. So we're doing what we just did, we're just making sure that we do it in the same spot. Like here's a front post, so I want to make sure I front post around it again, that way the ridges line up. And then back post, front post around the post, back post, front post, back post, and just repeat this all the way around. Okay, I made it back around again, and now I'm just going to keep repeating this row for a couple more rows till I get a little taller. I'm just going to keep front post double crocheting on top of the front post from the previous row, and then the same with the back post. I'll probably just do a couple more rows. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to go ahead and get started going around, and then I'll let you know how many rows total that I do. Okay, I went ahead and did 2 more of the front double crochet, back double crochet rows for a total of 4 of them altogether, not counting that very first row of just regular double crochet. But you can do more or less if you want. And all I'm going to do is just fold it down like that. And if you feel like you can put a couple stitches down here to hold it in place, I'm not going to do that. I think it's going to be okay the way it is. But now I'm going to get started on the handles. Now you can do your handles any way that you want, but I'll show you how I'm going to do mine in case you want to do them like that. You'll start with the slip knot, but leave kind of a little bit of a longer tail so you can sew it on to your bag. And then you want to start with a chain of 8. Single crochet in the second stitch from the hook, and then single crochet 1 in every stitch across for the length of your chain. And you want to chain 1 and turn, and 1 single crochet again in every stitch across. Chain 1 and turn, 1 single crochet in every stitch across. So I'm just going to keep doing rows of single crochet, and you can do this for as long as you want your handles to be. I'm actually going to do 45 rows of single crochet, and you want to make sure at the end you're going into that chain 1. That counts as a stitch. Chain 1 and turn again, and keep going till you do 45 rows. Okay, once you get your rows done here, you want to sew them on. Sew them in about the same spots on each side with your yarn needle and the tails that you left. I'm just going to sew it right along the edge up here. Just right across the bottom here. Just as neatly as I can. And I want to sew both pieces on the same way. Like that. You can go across again if you want to make sure that it's on nice and tight. I don't carry these, so I don't have to worry about the handle falling off. And then you just want to do the other side just the same way. Don't twist your handle up. Make sure you lay it on right here, because we're going to sew it together too. Just do the other side the same way. Okay, I got it sewed on, now I'm going to, I got a piece of yarn, long piece of yarn, and my yarn needle, and I'm going to sew it together. I'm going to fold it in half and sew it. So I'm going to start down here as low as I can. Like that. And I'm going to go back and forth sewing it together. And you can slip stitch it together too if you want. It's easier for me to use the yarn needle. And I'm going back and forth. I'm not going over the top. That way you won't be able to really see the stitches that well. And I'm going to do this to both handles. I already did it to this handle, but I'm just going to do this all the way across. It just makes the handle a little thicker. It gives it a little bit different of an appearance. Just like that. And you want to do that all the way down to here. And then it'll look like this. You can tie off and hide your tails after that. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to do in this bag. I had this little pin I put on it. It's got some of the blue mixed in the back yarn, if you can see it. Probably can't see it on the film, but it looks pretty cool with it. I hope you were able to follow along okay. Please don't forget to check me out on Facebook too. You can post all your crochet items on there. I'll put a link to my Facebook page below in the description box. And if you got time, you can check out all my other tutorials. And until next time, have a good day.